Hello and welcome. I'm Anne Aleckson. Of course, you know that because this is my face and this is my voice. And I'm here this month with Enlightened Changemaker, Rebecca Smith. Rebecca is, of course, featured in our Enlightened Changemaker section within the pages of Holistic Bliss magazine every single month. And she's been promoting within those pages the Kindness Project. But we're going to talk about her today. We are also going to discuss that project, but we also want to get to know Rebecca a whole lot more. So, Rebecca, hello, welcome. So good to have you here with us. And I'm looking forward to learning more about what you do and all of these sorts of things. So, hello, and how are you today?
Hello, Anne, and thank you very much for having me today. I'm feeling very excited about having a chat with you because you're obviously helping the change makers make change in the world. So I'm excited about what you do and being part of that as well. So yeah, very.
Fantastic. All right, beautiful. Well, now I'm going to actually introduce you properly. So, Rebecca is currently a priestess initiate. She's learning the ways of the ancient feminine temples, and she's also completing a Womb Awakening 9 Moons apprenticeship through the Institute of Feminine Arts, healing and awakening the magic of the feminine dimension within. And I suspect that we're going to have a bit of a conversation about that. She is also, as I mentioned, a co-founder of the Be Kind Revolution, transforming the world through acts of kindness and compassion, one heartbeat at a time. And we will also touch on that today. Rebecca has a real passion for the union of mind, body, and soul and holistic practices for well-being. She's facilitated women's retreats for both corporate and community-based women and rites of passage for teenage girls into adulthood. She walks her spirit path with integrity, courage, adventure, and generosity, being a big believer in having fun, being authentic, and most importantly, loving life. Deepens her connection with her family, friends, and community. And so, Rebecca, let me very straight up ask you a question. Yintopia, I love it. Tell me what that means.
Utopia for me is the utopia for women. So I have created a space for women to come together in a community that is about that balance of that feminine. So even us as our birthright, as females, as women, are really blessed with that opportunity to deepen ourselves into our womb spaces and into our feminine aspects. So for me, it's Yintopia is creating that utopia for women to come together, speak about that in community, and also hear from other people that are sharing their passions, power, and beliefs as well.
Fantastic. And so, if I'm correct, this is your business name as well.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, fantastic.
One day to actually have a place called the township of Utopia as well. So welcome to Utopia to be able to come.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I love that we're going to have a conversation about the feminine work that you do. So what I want to ask you is, why is it so important to you? It feels to me that this is really a passion and a purpose for you. And so tell me why that is for you.
Absolutely. And it really stems from my personal experience and my personal journey and being able to support people on their journey, because I know that we're always learning and growing as we go. So for me, it's about always learning and growing with myself, but also sharing that so that I can reflect that for others as they have done for me. So when I was about 17, I was lucky enough to find the Women's Wellbeing Association. And for me, that was such an amazing support network at a young age to be able to navigate those things that you need to around that time frame of when you're making decisions into adulthood and when you're moving into more of yourself and your self-identity. I had a beautiful group of women there to support me through that. And through my journey through life, they have also been a constant in all of my experiences. So being able to support others has been really an important part of my life, because I've felt so supported by the feminine as well.
Beautiful. I love that. And it really is super important, particularly in this day and age, that our young girls have that support, because it is something that is, I don't want to say lacking, although it feels that way to me in a lot of cases. You know, as parents, we've gotten so much busier. We're having co-parenting, so they're moving from one to the other. Life is just different for teenage girls. It was hard enough when I was young, and that was a very long time ago. But so important now that we start providing that support that you received. I think it's so needed in the world today. And you do community-based rites of passage work with.
Yes,
Well.
I work with the Pathways Foundation, and we run the Journey into Womanhood, or Pathways to Womanhood, and that is really about exactly what you're talking about, creating that network of women. And this day and age, everybody's on their devices and you know, caught up in some form of image that they either are owning or that they want to project. And so for me, the camps that we run are actually really important to create a space where the young girls are actually outnumbered by women, so guides and women and aunts and you know, but not family, sorry, so community. So they come as mother and daughter, but in a space that we actually have more older women in the area, so that then they can actually see the role modeling happening. They can actually then you know, feel what it feels like to actually share an experience or a story that is very, very deep inside. And so at school, they don't get that, because it's the teacher ratio to the group of students. And generally when, you know, they hang out with their friends too, it's all about those, the younger speak. So we learn a lot from each other as peers, as young people. But I think there's also that wisdom in being able to just sit and listen to other women. And I hope that during this time, families are doing that more often. And there's that opportunity to connect with what mum's doing and, you know, help her out or do things like that. Because I know that's what I've done. I've actually moved to King Island for a little bit to spend time with my grandma and my mum, because for me, that's an important part of that lineage and connecting with them. And my sister's here too. So
That's beautiful. I love that. I love that, because so many of us isolate, not because the government has told us to, but also because that's just how we live now. You know, we have our home and it's where we are, and other members of the family are everyone else. Just quickly, you used the expression aunties before, and then you corrected yourself. And I'm going to assume that you were speaking in a more traditional sense of aunties as being that older generation that aren't necessarily related to you.
yes, and I think it is, yeah, important to have your mother as that person that you can go to talk to and ask advice. But there's always that aspect of when you're growing up, and even, you know, as you grow up, coming to your mum about everything. You know, mothers just can't hold everything for you, because that's a big ask, because they're their own person as well. So
Yes.
sometimes you need that support network, and I call them aunties, because for me they are an extended part of my family, even if they aren't blood. And so having that wider community and being able to talk to other women about other things is so important, I think, for us all.
Yes, absolutely. I so agree with you. I'm fascinated by the feminine stuff because it's not something that I've ever really dabbled my toes in. Although, having said that, I do still bring aspects of that in, but without it being labeled in any way. But I'm just fascinated by, there are so many offerings out there around, you know, awakening your feminine energy and doing all of those sorts of things. So what I love about you is that you are going through a training and you're actually learning the ways of the ancient feminine temples, as opposed to stepping into a place of mentoring others or teaching others what you perhaps haven't experienced and hasn't really landed. Do you know what I mean? There are so many weekend workshops and things like that that one can do if they choose to. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But what I love is that there's a real groundedness in the priestess initiate.
Thank
So
you.
tell me how long you've been doing that for and where it's taken you and what you've been up to with that.
Yeah, I think there is a little bit of backstory for that, just touching on what you said. And for me, I've studied different modalities, and that being psychotherapist, doula, counselling, lots of different, and I want to say practical things to help people move through their process or their rites of passage with being a doula as well. And for me, it was about the depth then I wanted to go into with learning about the her story. So not the history, but the her story of those that have gone before me that have actually held these roles in society and in community. And so for me, it was about learning that her story of what did we used to do in the ancient times that actually was supporting ourselves, but also supporting community. And then giving thanks to that and gratitude. So the different rituals and ceremony that I feel called to do, and I'm learning through being an initiate, is really having gratitude for each of the goddess archetypes that are either coming through me that I need to get me through a moment in time, or to be able to give gratitude to something in nature when it's got to do with spring or a different cycle of the seasons. And as we know, different goddess archetypes come through from a seasonal perspective, but they also come through from a personal archetype where you need to pull in the energy and strength from a goddess to help you through. You might need Pele to help you, destruct so that you can recreate, and Kali as well. And then you might need Hathor, which is the motherly, really grounded sense as well. So for me, it was learning about all of those aspects of myself and then how that actually is in the world as well.
I absolutely love it. It's fascinating. So what I'd love to do, thank you so much for that. So what do you offer out there into the world around this archetype goddess and the feminine stuff? Is there anything that you're currently offering? I know that you have a very practical psychotherapy based thing that you do. So tell me about that, but also let me know of anything else that you're offering at the moment.
Of course. I have an SOS program, which is called the Sister of Support program, which is my psychotherapy sessions. So they're the 1 hour sessions. And just really, if you need some help, calling out the SOS for me to be able to support you through any processes that you're going through, or even any family healing trauma, or even finding your passion, because I'm also a career coach as well too. So being able to look at where you are in your career is something that I can help us with as well.
So
but I'm putting together.
Before you continue, just let me ask you a question, because I think this is really important. When you say you're a career coach, tell me about that.
I'm so sorry. I'm just going to pop that off the hook for a second. Daisy, life sometimes just gets in the way, doesn't it? Even through the conversation.
And so it struck me that you said career coach. When I'm talking to spiritual people and people who are in this field, they generally talk about purpose. They don't use the expression career coach. So I want to just dig a little deeper into that. You're qualified in career coaching.
I have been doing career coaching in corporate for the last 50, probably not 15 years, 10 years, because I'm not that old yet. So I actually delve in both worlds. So I am in corporate at the moment, and also doing this as my passion as well. So I do have experience in both those sides as well too. So I do career coaching with executives, and also anyone throughout the organisation that I'm working with as well.
All right, that's fantastic. So I think that's a really good thing that you're offering there. So I did interrupt you. You were going to tell us about something else that you offer. So if you'd like to jump in and do that.
So excited about all the programs and all the different experiences that I am excited to be creating at the moment. So I would like to have a bit more of that coaching as well too happening, and so I'm putting together a Finding You coaching program, which I hope to be launching by the end of the year, and that's going to be really helping people find more confidence and more connection with themselves, to be able to then follow their passion. So finding themselves and finding what they really love to do. I've also got a fantastic body karma program that I'm actually putting together, which is one of my big favorites. I've run it in previous workshops and retreats, and that's really about your body, and that's getting connected to this beautiful feminine body that we have, and embodying your birthright. So it really takes you through some chakras. So if you're not familiar with chakras, just the energy centers. So just getting you fully into your body, and then really looking at, how society's told us what we need to love about ourselves and how we need to love ourselves as women, and really unpacking that so that you can find the things that make you unique, and really love every aspect of that in yourself as well too. So that is obviously not an overnighter, but that's something that is a program that we'll work through together, and also be lipping in with others through their experiences as well too. Because for me, again, that's an important part, is to have that reflection of somebody else's experience, so that you can actually see what resonates with you, and maybe that might actually help have some aha moments as well too. I've got a lot of aha moments from other women sharing. So,
well, I mean, and that's a thing that us women do so well, isn't it? Because we can be sitting alone thinking that we are alone and that we're having an experience that nobody else has ever had, and assuming that we must be doing something wrong. So it's so important that we keep conversations going around what's really going on in the world, and what's really going on with us, and all of these sorts of things. Absolutely amazing. I love it. And I'm so looking forward to seeing you really put this out into the world. And I'll look forward to seeing that program that you've just mentioned as well. So let's have a quick chat about the Be Kind Revolution, because I know that you are a co-founder with Mia, who is also one of our Enlightened Changemakers. And it's just such a timely project, really. I mean, what do we need more than anything else in this world right now but kindness? So tell me about the Be Kind Revolution.
yeah, it really came about from an experience that Mia had, and it was through her experience of losing her husband so suddenly, that it really we both had the epiphany that people just needed to just be a little bit more kind. Because if some of the people that met her husband before something happened to him had been just that little bit more inquisitive about, is everything okay, what's going on right now for you, if we had just been able to reach out with our hearts, and instead of be concerned and withheld, then the tragedy may not have happened. So I think it's really about shifting that light into being kind to ourselves, and really just opening ourselves up to what we can be. And then in that, we actually change our reality around us as well too. So that is the first step of the Be Kind, is to actually start looking at yourself and start to be kind to yourself, and know what you need, so that then you can make those changes. And that's actually where the ripple effect is created as well too.
Of course. And it's whenever anybody's talking about self first, it's about filling your cup, or it's about putting your oxygen mask on. We've all heard all of the many different ways that it's been expressed, but it really is so important. You know, we've these expressions have been out there in the world for so long, and we've heard them but not really paid attention, or heard them and kind of, oh, that's for everyone else, not for me. But we're starting to come into a time now, and of course this is all about self-care, where we know that we've got to fill our cup first, or we've got to become kind if that's what we want from everyone else out in the world. We've got to be the change that we want to see, is an expression that I use all the time. So that's just amazing. So how do people learn more about the Be Kind revolution, and how do people get to contribute? How do people become part of that revolution?
It's very simple, really. It's about that self, and the level one, or the foundation state, is to really just make a pledge that you will take 100% responsibility for your actions, because that's about that being kind piece as well too. If you take 100% accountability, then you're actually thinking about what you're doing and what you're putting out there. So it's as easy as making a pledge, and we've got some pledge cards on the website, which is bekindrevolution.life. And so you can make a pledge there, or in our Facebook page as well too, Be Kind Revolution, and make that pledge outwardly. Don't just make it to yourself, make it so that others can actually, again, have that ripple effect and see what you've put out there and actually say, that resonates with me, I want to do that. And that's why we called it the Be Kind Revolution, by just actually making that inward acceptance and then that outward acknowledgement. That's where the revolution starts. And then you can become things like a kindness captain, which is where people will actually start to do things in their community and run initiatives that we're actually, thinking about. So it might be the month of September might be something exciting, which I think is coming up soon. So look at our Facebook page to check that out.
Oh, fantastic.
And acts of kindness really is what that kindness captain is responsible for. And then the global ambassadors as well too. We're looking to obviously make this revolution not just a local revolution, but a global revolution as well.
Well, it is, isn't it? Because Mia is actually living across the other side of the world.
She is. So she's in Hawaii and really creating that revolution over there. And we're still banging the drum over here in Australia, which is very exciting to be global and really doing it from two beautiful islands to be able to create.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love that. So is there anything else that you would like to share with us today while we're having this moment, and while we've got you in front of people who I know will want to be part of the Be Kind revolution? Absolutely. And also, of course, anything to do with the feminine.
Wonderful. I'm really excited to be sharing this opportunity with everybody, and also with yourself. And yeah, I just wanted to just say from my heart to your heart that we are all one. And I really want to breathe that in, and send my love out to everybody who's
Beautiful.
watching.
Actually, just before we go, what I'd really love to do is ask you if there is, let's say that there's someone sitting in front of us right now who is perhaps feeling a little lost and alone and doesn't have that female companionship or family around her. What would be your number one, number two? Give us a couple of things that you might suggest to that person to help them to move into their own embodiment of the feminine, but also to allow other women in, because I think that's sometimes a problem for us, that we don't know how to allow other women in.
Yeah. Really simple thing is just to sit and just get out of your head and start to be in your body. And that may be by putting your hand on your heart, or on your stomach, on your womb space, or on a particular part of your body that you're feeling pain, and just to just deepen yourself into that, and just to listen to what that part of your body needs to say to you. So that's a personal thing that you can do. And the other thing is to get out of your head, or for me, it's that mind speak and that self-doubt and that lizard voice that I've heard others call it as well too, that reptilian brain that goes into that fear space. Move out of that by either doing some journaling, drawing, walking, doing something active that will help you actually shift from all of that speak to another form of activity, which then will open you up to listening to what it is that you might need to do for yourself as well.
Love it.
And reaching out is always a big thing, because making that first initial conversation with somebody, anybody, may just be that little bit of connection that you need as well.
Absolutely. And I would also then recommend that anybody who's interested would go and look at your website and look at your social media and connect with you in some way. So I'm going to include all of the links to all of the things in the video. And Rebecca, thank you so much for joining me today. I've really enjoyed getting to know you a little bit more about what you do and what you're all about. And I mean, just looking at you, I can see that you're all about the feminine. There's just this beautiful aura of femininity about you, not in a girly way, but in a grounded, spiritual, feminine way. So it's really nice to learn a bit more about what you are doing and bringing into the world, and to support you to do that. So thank you so much for joining me, and thanks everybody for watching once again, and we will have another Enlightened Changemaker join us next month for a conversation. Thank you.
Everyone, bye.
Join the Enlightened Changemakers community on Facebook for uplifting posts, fun and informative conversations, live video trainings, and so much more every single day of the week.